All right, let's pivot to the main slate. And who do you like for stacks?
Well, the Seahawks are back on the main slate this week, so I'm going with Geno Smith again. For some reason, he's only 6K, which is really weird, but I'm going with the Geno DK Lockett stack against the Raiders this week. This is a great matchup. The Raiders defense ranks dead last in DVOA against the pass, of course. The Seahawks have the sixth highest team total to open the week. Plus, both DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett were, sort of banged up heading into the bye. They played through their injuries, but coming out of the bye, they're going to be closer to 100%, a lot fresher. So, I think they're going to have a big game here. And Geno Smith, he's been tapping into his rushing upside a lot more lately. He has 20 or more rush yards in 5 of the last 7 games. Plus, they're getting Kenneth Walker more involved in the passing game as well. So that's only going to help Geno's overall yardage. So love that, our true and true, Seahawks stack there. And then I'm also going with Jeffrey Wilson and the Dolphins defense against the Texans here. Very likely we see the Dolphins blow out the Texans here, and this is obviously a great matchup for running back. So this is just a good stack to leverage against, Tua, Tyreek, Waddle stacks. They could get off to a big lead early on and then, take their foot off the gas. Similar to what we saw against the Steelers a few weeks ago. So this is a dream matchup for both Wilson and Mostert. But I think if they get a big lead, Wilson makes sense to be the grinder back, trying to preserve the lead because he's just more of a grinding running back, whereas Mostert's more of a home run threat. So I think even if they get up big, they're going to stick with Wilson here. He could have a big game, multiple touchdown upside, and then stacking him with the Dolphins defense, who should be able to go off here against Davis Mills and the Texans.
Yeah, like that is like that defense, man, for the Texans. It's not very good. So I think you got to attack it in all ways possible. I like Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle again against this defense, but especially Tua and Tyreek. Tyreek leads the entire league in yards per route run against zone coverage, and the Texans are number 1 in zone coverage rate. That's what they do under Lovie Smith. So every time we see this Dolphin team play, they're just throttling somebody, with Tua in the lineup. So I think that's how they get up big. They're going to throw the ball. Yes, the Texans have a bad run defense, but they have a bad defense, and I think the Dolphins are going to be able to move it through the air and on the ground as well. So I think Tua is a good bet for 303 touchdowns here. So love him and that stack with Tyreek. And I think an under the radar one is Ryan Tannehill, Traylon Burks, and you could throw in Robert Woods because this Bengals offense, they're one of the better offenses in the league, and even facing a tough Titans defense like this that gets pressure, they could still put up points. We saw that against Pittsburgh. I mean, TJ Watt had an amazing, and that whole front really. I mean, they were creating havoc, batting passes in the air, picking passes off that were batted, getting sacks, all that. But Joe Burrow was still able to put up a good offensive game and get them in the end zone. And I think that you could see a similar kind of thing play out here in this one and put Tannehill in a trailing game script. And, he doesn't get those too often. He gets to hand off to Derrick Henry. They play really good defense, but I think the Bengals are one of those teams that could put up points on the Titans to where you might see another one of those, 300-yard games from Tannehill. And I don't know what was going on with Downing last week. I mean, he unfortunately got arrested when he got back from the game. But I mean, the fact that they to salt the game, they threw a 50-yard bomb downfield to Traylon Burks. I like that. Like, give me some aggressive Todd Downing in this Titans offense. So it's kind of a wild card here where their receivers are just kind of rounding into shape now that you got Burks back healthy. Burks, Woods, and Westbrook Akina as a 3. That's pretty solid, and Hooper's playing well. So, don't look now, but the Titans, who pretty much for most of the year had one of the weakest receiving cores in the league, they're kind of rounding into shape a little bit here. And Tannehill, he's shown that he can produce when he has good pieces around him. So I think that one's sneaky for kind of a contrarian trailing game script type of thing.
Yeah, as somebody that just needed Derrick Henry to get just a couple more rushing yards, I did not like that deep play. But yeah, doing a double stack is certainly aggressive. I don't know if I'd go that far, but certainly with Traylon Burks, I think you could also make a case for your boy Chig Okonkwo.
Yep.
He now has a 30-yard catch or more in 3 straight games, so he's a guy that probably doesn't even need that many targets to be a slate breaker. But that is a good call. They were definitely a lot more pass heavy than I anticipated against a good pass defense, against a run funnel defense. So yeah, I like seeing them open up. And Traylon Burks, he's finally healthy. Finally has Ryan Tannehill under center, so he's definitely a guy I'd be willing to target in GPPs for sure.
And don't sleep if it looks like the Cardinals may hold out Murray again. Don't sleep on Colt McCoy either, because I think the Chargers could put up a lot of points on on one side, and McCoy, they've shown they're willing to go pass heavy. He's got Hopkins. He should have Marquise Brown. We'll see what's up with
Yeah.
Rondale, but he's gonna have weapons, and they've shown they're willing to go pass heavy. So if they're trailing, I think he's a cheap one as well. Who do you like for dart throws?
Bunch of cheap wide receivers. So Garrett Wilson, he's 4,300. He's been kind of stuck there recently. And the reason we don't want to play him there is because Zach Wilson sucks. But if they, have Mike White or Joe Flacco under center this week, Garrett Wilson's gonna be very enticing at 4,300. Trenton Irwin at 3K this week. He operated as the clear number 3 wide receiver for the Bengals. He had like a 71% routes run rate. And the Bengals just released Mike Thomas, so that clears up even more potential routes for Irwin. This is if Jamar Chase misses again this week, which I think will happen. Plus, this is a matchup where, the Bengals might be without Joe Mixon. The Titans are a pass funnel defense, so we could see more passing yards to go around. And getting the Bengals number 3 wide receiver at min price is very enticing to me. Rashid Shaheed is another min price guy who could go off this week. He only, caught 1 pass for 8 yards last week, but he ran around 68% of the dropbacks. He ran one more route than Chris Olave for some reason. So we've seen his big play potential. So just being out there for extra snaps and routes just increases the odds. We do see him make a huge play. So he is definitely sneaky at min price, even though it is a tougher matchup against the Niners. With him, all it takes is one big play. And one more is DeAndre Carter. He's 3,700. And, once Mike Williams went down, he still operated as the clear number 3 receiver with an 89% routes run rate. So even though Keenan Allen's back, he looked great. Josh Palmer's still really good. Carter's still going to be the number 3 receiver in this Chargers offense. So I like him. He's super cheap right now at 3,700. So he's another good cheap option this week.
Yeah, definitely. These Chargers just can't keep all their guys healthy at once, but Carter, he should be out there on the field, and those guys will take coverage away from him, and that's all you need. I like Nico Collins going up against Miami in this one. I think Miami is going to have success on offense, and so the Texans are going to have to throw the ball and play catch up. And Collins actually ran more routes than Brandon Cooks last week. His route participation rate was 83 to Cooks 80. And ever since Cooks had that blow up, he really hasn't had the same role he had earlier in the season. And I think they're transitioning a little more to Collins, kind of overtaking him as that lead guy of the future going forward. So I like Collins in the spot and where you could get just a bunch of volume. He did have 5 catches on 7 targets last week, but failed to reach the end zone. But this Miami game, I think, could be a high scoring one. So like Nico at 4,100. And I also like Treylon Burks. He's pretty cheap, just like Garrett Wilson. I think this is the time when you want to kind of bet on rookies to break out. So we saw Burks have that massive game on primetime, and that could continue. We think of the Titans, okay, they're going to be this run first team, but the Bengals have the better chance than most at putting up a decent point total on this Titans team, which would force them to throw more than they have been in the past. So like Burks as well. Is anyone else?
How about these Chiefs receivers at min price? You got Justin Watson and Sky Moore at min price. I'm guessing Juju returns this week, right? But Kadarius Toney is probably out.
Yeah, so there is an opening in that number 3 role with Tony being out. You know, Watson ran a route on 97% of the dropbacks last week. I bet the over on his, what was it, 1.5 receptions, which in
Yeah.
retrospect looks, it was like, wow, that was just a gift. But he's kind of been the guy that's stepped up, but Moore was having a really good game. And I think Moore kind of slots into that Nicole Hardman, Kadarius Tony role better. There is a question as to which one of those guys it is, but I think both of them are decent plays. I think it's something you just kind of have to monitor as the week progresses, see who's running with the ones. But the route participation was Watson 97%, Moore 42% last week, with MVS at 76%, Tony at 24%, and Marcus Kemp at 3%. So, Watson could just be filling in for that Juju role. But he's the guy in every time they need like an extra guy, he gets the playing time over Moore. And even this season, he's their fourth receiver, really. He's been their fourth receiver for much of the year over Sky Moore as is. So I think Watson is an intriguing bet, because I think Sky Moore is a little more obvious. So
Yeah.
I would probably lean Watson just based on the on what we've seen.
I'm about to throw one more dart throw out in that matchup itself. Kyron Williams should be a trailing game script, and the Rams just released Daryl Henderson right now.
Oh,
So
wow, I did not see that.
It is Kyron Williams time. I've been screaming for people to stash him. But this definitely doesn't set up to be a Cam Akers game. So I think this is the week we see Kyron just fully unleashed. So he is now a dart throw at 4,900 on DK.
Did they make a corresponding move? Like, who would be the third running? Is it going to be Rivers again?
I would assume so, right? He's still on the practice squad.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this literally just happened.
Yeah, no, you're breaking the news to me. I did not know this, but I could see it coming. I mean, Henderson, it was obvious that he was kind of mixed up in that Cam Akers spat too, but I guess it's not his style to like come out publicly. But remember when they were both in the preseason, like they both had these mysterious injuries and came back on the same day. And, McVay's always searching for like elevating practice squad guys and giving them carries. And it was obvious he wasn't happy with Henderson or Akers. And it's crazy that Akers remains on the team.
Yeah, that's bizarre. But, this is a good spot for Kyron too. He's, a good pass catching back, but he's like like a dollar store Austin Eckler. He could certainly handle a full workload. So I think that with the Rams season just circling down the drain, why not unleash him for these final few games? So, they like him. He was their 5th round pick. Great back out of Notre Dame. So I think now's the time to unleash him. So I definitely want to be heavily invested before that does happen. So I think just this week is the perfect time to play him.
Yeah, I mean, we're just finding this out. By the time people are setting the line for Sunday, he might be the chalk cash play. I mean, we might get news that they're releasing Henderson because they intend to just go with Williams as a starter the rest of the year, which I could see. I would say that's probably better than a 50-50 shot. So, but either way, I mean, even if he is just that kind of free square cash play, that's still very valuable. So, either way, yeah, like Kyron's obviously going to get a big bump going forward. Let's build some lineups. Let's start with DraftKings, and we'll build a tournament lineup. I think I went first on DraftKings last week, so start us off.
I should probably update my Rams projections to see if Kyron does, pop as a cash game type play. But I think that we'll start with, let's go with Geno Smith to start.
Okay.
He's 6K, just can't pass up that value. So let's go with him.
Then I'm going to stack him with DK Metcalf, one of my favorite receivers this week, at 6,500.
Love it. Let's take a quick look at defense, see if anybody sticks out. Oh, God, wait. The Chiefs defense? Ooh. They're 2,800. They're facing the Ram. It'll be Wolford or Perkins.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. I mean, they're going to be chalky, but I still like it.
Yeah, who cares? I don't care about being chalky with defense, but Perkins might be he has rushing ability. He might not throw as much to have turnovers or sacks, but either way, Chiefs that cheap is just a no-brainer.
But yeah, he's a third string quarterback, so I mean,
yeah.
He's running for a reason because he's not great at throwing it. Let's go with Antonio Gibson at 5,400.
Oh,
As you mentioned, got more of the carries than Brian Robinson a week ago. So he got 18 carries and also had 3 catches for 31 yards, 18 for 72. And he's getting a decent amount of the scoring position work. Remember, he had the touchdown against the Eagles. So he's kind of reemerged as the starting running back after all that,
yeah.
we don't want this guy
It's
as a
funny how that worked
starter.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how when a guy in Robinson is averaging 3.4 yards a carry, then you
Yeah.
want to go back to the explosive guy. But I'm sure Robinson is still not 100%, but he gives him that physical presence, but Gibson's definitely more explosive, and we know they're gonna want to lean on the run again as a home favorite against the Falcons. So yeah, let's go Gibson 5,400.
All right, I'm gonna go super cheap at wide receiver. I did like your Nico Collins call. I feel like I'm always pretty high on him, and yeah, he's 4,100 against the Dolphins. Plus, their tight end depth chart has been really weird lately. Second straight week where Brevin Jordan's been inactive, so he really doesn't have that much competition for targets. Like you said, like Brandon Cooks is the number 2 guy right now. So just I love Nico's upside. He is yet to like really pop off, but that could be this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the issue with the Texans is just can they get touchdowns? Kind of like the Broncos.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
Dolphin team, I mean, they end up getting in shootouts more so on the road. So hopefully we get one in Miami this time. But I do think they're going to score points, which sets it up well. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go with Moreau at 3,400. I got him in the top 10 this week, and maybe we get a shootout in that Seahawks Raiders game because we already got Geno and Metcalf, so we got some positive correlations there as well. So let's go Moreau at 3,400 against this bottom 5 Seahawks D against Titans.
Love it. So we're gonna have to spend up. We have 7,200 roughly remaining per player. So, oh god, DeAndre Hopkins 7,700 against the Chargers. Yeah, let's go with that one.
All right.
Doesn't matter who's under center. Actually, kind of prefer Colt McCoy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just takes because like if you drop back a set amount of times with Murray, they're just these scrambles and things like that. You could actually end up getting a higher target share with a guy with a more traditional pocket passer. Similar with Chicago.
Yeah, I'm guessing like Moore is probably on the bad side of questionable, and if Marquise Brown returns, he's going to be pretty limited. And Trey McBride was just sort of a check down artist. So yeah, I just think Hopkins' ceiling is massive here, and he's way too cheap.
Absolutely. All right. So we need a running back and we need a flex, and we have still over 7K.
Spend up, man.
No, let's go Jeff Wilson Jr. 5,900. I'll let you spend up. I'll throw Wilson.
Oh, okay.
Wilson in there. So we have Nico already. So Wilson's a good.
I thought you were gonna go Tyreek and just give me.
I was going to, but I rather let you.
You know me. I like taking the cheap guys. So I'll gladly spend 8,200. So we got. I mean, at wide receiver, we're gonna have 1,000 left on the table. Kelsey, doubling down on tight ends is an option.
Oh, your boy. Wait.
Josh Jacobs.
Or
that doesn't jive with our.
Yeah, we got Moreau. Go contrarian Nick Chubb. That's gonna be a guy that's pretty, and it's gonna be rainy in Tampa. Well, I kind of like that one.
You already know the forecast?
That's what
I mean, he is definitely he is definitely spend up to be contrarian.
Coming off a bad game,
that would leave 400 on the table. He is my boy.
And let's see.
There's like no one at wide receiver
we have tracked 8 sharp moves on the Cleveland Browns plus 3.5 home dog against.
Oh yeah,
and Chubb's coming. I think we got to go Chubb here.
Yeah, that I would say if you're building the same lineup, the pivot is either Travis Kelce to have 2 tight ends or Nick Chubb. So yeah, we'll go Chubb here.
Yeah, I mean this is perfect. Like DFS, he's coming off a 14 attempts for
Yeah,
19 yards. There's nothing better than, picking a stud that's coming off a bad game. I mean,
especially on DK, a full PPR site like DK, he's 7,800. He will be
yep.
low roster. He
He
has
probably would be 5%.
2-3 touchdown upside.
Yep.
So yeah. Especially, I didn't look at the weather forecast yet, but if it is raining, I'm gonna like him even more.
I mean, that's what, as of Tuesday, it's expected to rain.
Hopefully they don't move the game.
Yeah, no. All right. So Geno Smith at quarterback,
Yep.
6K. Antonio Gibson, 5,400 against the Falcons at running back, along with Jeff Wilson Jr. at 5,900 against the Texans. We've got Nick Chubb in the flex at running back as well, 7,800 against the Bucks. Our receivers, DK Metcalf, Nico Collins, and DeAndre Hopkins. Tight end Foster Moreau at 3,400 at Seattle. And our defense is the Kansas City Chiefs, just 2,800 as a 2-touchdown favorite against the Rams. I really like the Chubb addition to this lineup because that really gives us, like, in the spirit of making a true tournament lineup, we're trying to be different.
Yeah, exactly. Because we do have some chalkier players in there, but no one's going to have this same exact lineup until they listen to us, of course. But yeah, I think this is a good mix of just like chalky good plays and contrarian, like spending up to be contrarian type of plays.
Yep, absolutely. No, a lot of times, because we get so caught up, especially when we're doing the show, we want to kind of choose guys who we can, explain away with the matchup and this and that. But a lot of times it's just choosing guys we know can score points when they're not going to be at the top of mind. And I think Chubb is certainly qualifies, and there's a lot of signs kind of pointing to him having a rebound. All right, let's go to FanDuel here. I'll start us off. All right, I know where I'm going to start. We haven't talked about this guy as much this year, but he is still, I think he's kind of back in that top 12 wide receiver 1 range. And this is going to be a tough matchup for his teammate, George Kittle. So let's go with Deebo Samuel, just 6,900, a nice 6,900 on FanDuel. He still got it. He showed he still got the juice. And of course, the pricing came out before he got a long rushing touchdown. So it's fascinating. By the way, we kind of talked about Mitchell last week on the pod, and would he continue to see more work than McCaffrey? I guess the answer is yes. So, but and Deebo is still getting carries even with all that going on. So let's go Deebo under 7K here against the Saints. What you doing?
Yeah, like the way you were setting it up, I was guessing T. Higgins. And I was like, oh, that's not a bad play. So I might consider him. He's a bit pricey, so let's hold off on that. But let's see. Let's go with the running back. God, I want to use Gibson again. He's even cheaper on FanDuel, and he's probably a better FanDuel play. I do think we should have a Kyren lineup. I want to get in on that before. I think he's even cheaper comparatively on FanDuel, so let's go with him.
All right.
Like, I haven't even updated my projections with Darrell Henderson out, and he's still kind of popping as a play.
Yeah. He just saw. I think he ran around on 64% of the dropbacks last week, so he should be heavily involved going forward. All right. We got Deebo, we got Kyren. Let's look at the quarterback situation. Let's go with Tua.
Oh, okay. Nice.
8,300. But I think, he's one of those, he's not a running quarterback like a Fields or a Lamar Jackson. He's priced right in between them. And, Herbert's a little cheaper. So, and boy, Geno is cheaper. So maybe he gets a little bit overlooked in a defense that is very beatable. And this Dolphin team has a very high implied point total as a 12-point favorite at home. So let's go with Tua here.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stack him with Tyreek.
Yes.
Just obviously a bigger ceiling. So let's go with him, and I'm confident we can find cheap guys. But Tyreek's 1K more expensive than Waddle, but that's 3.5 projected more points. So I think Tyreek's the no-brainer stacking play with Tua here.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned, Houston, they play zone.
Yeah.
Tyreek, best receiver in the. I mean, you could just say best receiver in the league, but best receiver in the league against zone coverage this year
Mhm.
by the numbers. No disrespect to Justin Jefferson. All right. Okay, let's go defense. Uh, let's go with the I think the most reliable defense, and that is the Carolina Panthers going against the Denver Broncos because we know they're not going to
Uh,
score.
what
So
about what about the Broncos against the Panthers?
I actually I'm seeing some, just because of the injuries for the Broncos. That's why I was on the Raiders last week, and because we're
Oh,
doing this
yeah.
pod on a Tuesday, I'm not confident because remember Bradley Chubb, edge rusher,
Yeah, yeah.
traded. What's his name? Gregory, top bunch of sacks, bunch of pressures on IR. Darby, corner, out on IR. Kaywan Williams, slot corner, on IR. It's just a lot of the guys that made that defense great are no longer on that defense. They're just playing low scoring games now because their offense stinks. So, the Panthers did a pretty good job against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens last
Hmm.
week. So, now they're at home against this Bronco team that struggled to score points. And I think this is another perfect contrarian kind of play here. I mean, maybe it won't be, but I think it might be because the Broncos are, I think they're 3.5 point favorites on the road. They should not be favorite on the road, by the way.
Right.
But yeah, let's go with this Panther defense who has put up 9+ points in back-to-back games. 10 against the Falcons, 9 last week at Baltimore, which is impressive.
Yeah, I saw some stats like if the Broncos have averaged 18 points a game
Yeah,
this year, they'd be
they're like
8-2.
undefeated. Yeah, they'd only
It's
lost to the
just
Raiders.
ridiculous.
They would be 0-2 against the
Yeah.
Raiders and have beat everyone else.
Well, hence why we have the extreme total here of about 35 and a half, 36. So either
Yeah.
way, like either defense in this spot. So that gives us 6,600 per player remaining.
Yep.
Very nice. Let's see. So we still need a tight end. I might go there.
Mike
Um,
Gesicki?
Gesicki for
Double stack?
Oh, wow, yeah. So he's 5K. I mean, I'm projecting him for 2.5 points less than
Okay.
Hurst or Ingram, but I mean, we're talking about right range of outcomes. He definitely has, a 2 touchdown ceiling here. So yeah, I do like the idea of double stacking to not with Waddle, that would make sense, but with Gesicki. So let's do that.
Yeah, get some contrarian.
Yeah, that's based on his, ceiling, not his median outcome. But yeah, I do like that call.
All right, I'm gonna keep with the contrarian flow for this one, and I'm gonna stack our defense with Deontay Foreman coming off
Oh
a
yeah.
miserable game against a tough Ravens run defense. Now he gets this Bronco defense that just got destroyed by
Yep.
Josh Jacobs and a pretty shaky Raider O line. And the Panthers line, low key, been playing pretty decently at times,
Yeah.
especially in the run game. So, going on the road, I mean, playing as a big underdog last week, I think didn't suit Foreman, but now you could argue that the Panthers, shouldn't even be dogs in this spot, given the
Right.
Broncos' inability to score points, which is what you need to win games. So yeah, I think Foreman will be another one, just kind of like Chubb, just because there's so many other options that are
Yeah.
cheaper. No one's gonna want to touch Foreman coming off like a terrible, terrible game. So yeah, let's stack him with the Panthers 6,700. So we need a wide out and we need a flex with an average of 7,350.
All right. So plenty of options at receiver, like Josh Palmer sticks out immediately. He's 6,800.
Yeah, let's go with Chris Olave here.
Nice.
Bet on a rookie to keep breaking out, and the Saints are nearly 10-point underdogs, so there could be some comeback. Yeah, that's because it was between Olave and Kamara.
Yeah.
Kamara's very cheap at 7,100, but just looking at the ways in which he would hit, it's tough to run against that defense, and they have a lot of linebackers and safeties that can fly to the ball, so he might not have, he doesn't have really the path to a big game, even in a trailing script, as somebody like Olave, who could just continue to, catch passes, run great routes and catch passes against that zone. Warner and all those guys against Kamara. So yeah, let's go Olave and the flex. So our lineup, we have 200 left on the table. Tua, 8,300 at quarterback. Kyron Williams, 5,300. The Rams running back at KC. Deontay Foreman, 6,700 at home against Denver, stacked with the Panthers defense. Then we got Tyreek Hill at 9,200. Deebo Samuel at 6,900 and DK Metcalf. Well, excuse me, 3, 2, 1. We got Tyreek Hill at 9,200, DK Metcalf at 7,200, and Deebo Samuel at 6,900. That is an amazing wide receiver core. And I don't know how common that particular grouping will be. Just because I think, there obviously will be a bunch of Tua Tyreek stacks, but will they have Metcalf and Deebo? I don't know. And Olave as well at 7,300. So really loving our wide receiving core. And then we got Gesicki stacked with Tua. So got some differentiating plays here with the Tua Gesicki stack and the Foreman Panther D stack as well. So I really like this lineup. I think this is, both of our lineups like very in the spirit of these larger field tournaments. Got the highest upside guy of the week in Tyreek here, but you're mixing them in with some very off the radar guys as well. So hopefully we keep it rolling. And I know our DraftKings lineup cash last week. I don't know. I guess I could check if our fans one did. Don't think it did. Nah. But let's try to keep it rolling.
Yeah, this lineup has massive upside, especially.
Oh, no, we did win. What?
Oh, on FanDuel too.
We did. Yeah, we.
I thought we had a good week. Like, both, nobody was injured. Like, everybody played. That's the only problem we face. Setting lineups this early is we can't assure they're going to be healthy. But yeah, I think both teams did do good.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was just one of those. It was one of those down weeks where you didn't need a ton. So we had Dak, Kamara, Montgomery, Lamb, Devontae Smith, Adam Thielen, Freiermuth, Taylor, and the Saints, and that was good enough.
Nice.
Just not really that much, but nothing was really going on last week. A lot of duds. All right, that is going to wrap it up for the week number 12 Fantasy Flex Fantasy Preview Pod. If you want to catch more fantasy content from Sean and I, be sure to check out our player projections podcast over on the Action Network podcast channel. And you can also check out actionnetwork.com for all of our fantasy football rankings and projections. Follow Sean on Twitter at @the_oddsmaker. Follow me at Chris Raybon, and you can find us at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. And until next time, let's give this money.